Errol Spence said it best. This new Terence Crawford is a monster, and Canelo, he might be in real danger.
You do that setting traps, has crazy power that he believes in, has a great chin too, because he was guy, he'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you, and then once he hits you, it's a wrap.
Greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was shocked after seeing how hard Terence Crawford is training for the Canelo fight. Spence, who has fought Crawford before, praised his boxing IQ and elite skills. Watching Crawford now, he couldn't believe how fast, sharp, and focused Crawford looks. This version of Crawford is dangerous. Canelo better not take him lightly.
Right here, roll.
When Crawford looked back at his fight with Spence, he spoke with respect. He explained how he slowly breaks down his opponents before finishing them with powerful combinations. Crawford fights smart and patiently.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down. Just wear him down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything started weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former world champ Chris Algieri also gave his opinion. He said Crawford always stays in control of his fights, but Canelo, in some fights, has looked overwhelmed. Algieri pointed to Canelo's loss against Dmitri Bivol, where Bivol used his size and discipline to dominate. He believes Crawford's control and skill could give Canelo big problems, even if Crawford is the smaller man.
And Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys. Number one, you can't boss me around.
Yep.
Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford, looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that. But I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare. Maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So when you talk about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that just psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but stylistic. Even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's good. That's gonna come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Billy's Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Commentator Max Kellerman said both fighters are great, but Crawford might have the edge right now. Kellerman talked about Crawford's timing, power, and ability to fight from both stances. He said Canelo is still elite, but he's slowing down, especially in movement and pressure. Even though Canelo is bigger, Crawford might be sharper and more complete today.
Counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter.
This fight is full of drama. Crawford is going up in weight, which is risky. He might lose some speed or stamina. But Canelo isn't the same fighter he once was either. He's not knocking people out like before. He's more cautious now. That makes things more even. If Crawford is in top form, with smart footwork and sharp timing, he can win.
For Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford, as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dmitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part of fight.
Young boxer Abdullah Mason believes Crawford will shock a lot of people. He said fans underestimate Crawford's power. Everyone talks about Canelo being stronger, but Mason thinks Crawford's timing and angles can do more damage. If Crawford lands clean shots, especially late in the fight, he could hurt Canelo badly.
I'll say Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. Crawford, I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's the better fighter that night.
Dmitri Bivol, who beat Canelo, also supports Crawford. He says Crawford has gained muscle and has the skills to win. Bivol respects Crawford's speed, focus, and intelligence in the ring. When a fighter like Bivol praises you, it means this fight is very real and competitive.
Him in Dubai maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things which we don't know. how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jermell Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously
Keith Thurman gave his view too. He said Canelo has trouble against smart boxers who move well, like when he fought Jermell Charlo. Canelo couldn't land clean shots when Charlo used footwork and strategy. Thurman thinks Crawford is even smarter and more strategic than Charlo, and that could make life tough for Canelo.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight, he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan and comedian Mike Vecchione praised Crawford. Rogan called him one of the greatest boxers today. He said this fight with Canelo is a big test, but also a big chance for Crawford to make history. Rogan talked about Crawford's work ethic and mindset. Crawford knows Canelo is bigger and may try to use that size, but Crawford is calm, confident, and ready. He respects the challenge, but truly believes he can win. That balance of confidence and respect is what makes Crawford so dangerous.
Feeling good, you know, work has been going great, and, you know, fight time, we're gonna be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Stylistic, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo? I'm
expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. You know, the odds can't fight for him. So, you know, it is what it is.